on this computer.
Got it. All right. So it is the 5th of December, 2021, as we're recording this. Thanks for joining us for the Make Guitar podcast. Mitch, how you doing today?
I think I'm doing pretty good today. How are you, Kirk?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, just spent the morning making some music.
Awesome.
Yeah,
What did you do?
I got my project done just in time, just like I was in high school. Got my assignment done.
Actually, you're putting me to shame. I gave up on Saturday, so I called mine done on Saturday. But I could have done. I had wasted a bunch of time goofing around here I could have put another hour in or two.
Yeah, but you were finished. I mean, you were just, you could just go for extra credit, but
Yeah, I feel like it needed a little work still. I mean, with a week, you kind of got to be happy with what you get.
yeah, and that was what I decided today. Like, um, this isn't like you have to make the best song possible before you export it. It's like you need to finish a song in a week, and so that's
Yeah.
kind of what what I did. I didn't make the best song possible.
Yeah, maybe though in the future, 100
Yeah.
songs from now.
Well, like what I decided is that I'm going to start my next week's song tomorrow.
Oh, good
So
idea.
I'll have it going through my head all week because I pretty much started this one on Friday, I think. I can't remember, but yeah, it was like just a few days ago, so I didn't really have a lot of time to process it. And yeah, usually like I think about my my progressions and stuff on my morning commute.
Yeah, sometimes I gotta sleep on it.
Yeah.
I gotta get something down, and then you think about it for a day, or you're in the shower, and then you're like, you think of a couple notes or something.
Yeah, for a day, not for like a month or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I think I traditionally have done, and then I just never end up making a quality recording of it. So yeah, I think just the exercise here is getting things done.
Yeah, we got to keep that up. So there's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get in this new habit. I bought this Boss Wazacraft FZ1, right? Fuzz pedal. Sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But my habit now has got to be to not buy any pedals for 2022.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can make
one.
them. You probably aren't going to miss out on anything. I know, like, there are some pedals that you probably would prefer not to make, like if they're really, really, complicated, like, some of those weird, like, Chase Bliss things that have like a little, like, what do you call those things? Computer brain.
I don't know how those work. I think they have a microcontroller or something that switches stuff and, like, I don't know, controls the routing and things. I don't know how those work. They're crazy though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think my thing is I'm going to just play the pedals I have, right? Mm-hmm. Get some use out of them,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
I've been still trying to sell some, but I haven't sold anything recently. So, I'd like to, if I could move some product, that would, product is just like the output of my, of my hobby, right? You know what I mean? Just like making stuff on the weekends, right?
Well, I mean, some people's hobby is consuming things, and they never have an end product, so they don't have to worry about like what to do with the end product. But they also don't get all the pedals, and they don't get the experience of building all the pedals. So
yeah,
so it's kind of a good one.
Yeah, I feel I just got to get some more mileage out of the stuff I have, and then if I could sell a few things, it would clear my shelf off.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Actually, I have 2 questions, but I'll start with one. Are you going to allow yourself to trade for pedals in 2022?
I was trying to trade some pedals last year, and it was like, I don't know, it wasn't like really good. I was not enjoying it because like it was very hard to find someone that wanted to trade, or find a trade for something that you wanted, like. So
Right.
I kind of stopped even looking at the trades, and then that got me off social media.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good because that in itself is a goal to get off of social media.
Yeah, right. So, if you spend too much time on social media trying to trade pedals, you're definitely not making them or playing any music, right? So I was like,
Right.
I'll stop doing this. This is not productive time.
Hmm. So my second question about the Waza fuzz pedal
Yeah.
is, are you going to take it out and rehouse it in an
No,
MXR box?
no. Good question though, but nah. I think that one's just gonna stay in the box. I feel like that one might
Okay.
keep pretty good value too, because it's a Wazacraft version, but I don't know.
Right.
But I did buy it new, so they're probably gonna not keep that great of value. Who knows? Who knows, right?
Well, I mean, they do tend to be kind of more limited runs, right? They
Yeah, I
don't
don't
make
know.
like,
The Tone Bender was a limited run, but I don't think this one is. You know,
okay.
my problem is just like shelf space. I just have too much crap. I was playing with the modular lately too, so that was kind of fun. I was trying to get that out. You know, and so I wanted to do something with that, and guitar. So I set the modular system up and I use Temps Util. It's like a module that does clock stuff.
Hmm.
And so I was hoping I could sync it up with GarageBand. So I set it to one, but you can't sync them right electronically, but I can set the BPM on both to the same number and hope that it comes out the same.
Right. Any luck?
It kind of worked. I mean, I'm not like, it was just the 1 week songs and I was running out of ideas, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna use the synthesizer. And I dorked around with setting the synthesizer up and playing with it all week, right? Until I
I
got a couple tracks that I thought might work.
No, I think that's worthy. I actually want to do that this week. Get my micro freak to communicate with GarageBand. Hopefully, I'm not sure if it's possible, but it would be cool if I could get it in there, and get it to, sequence in time with GarageBand's MIDI. Um, but that remains to be seen if I end up being able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't even think about trying to set up MIDI or anything like that. I was just like,
But
I'm just gonna go for it, and see if it works. It kind of worked. Like I lined things up on the timeline. I recorded both. Well, I would record the tracks at 120 BPM, and you could kind of line it up on the timeline, so it looked like the beats were all falling in the right spot. So it kind of worked.
well, that's good. I mean, it's probably better than what they had to deal with in the 50s or 60s with um, analog synthesizers and tape loops and things like that. Like, it was
Yeah,
just leaps of faith and hard work.
yeah. I think I just was dorking around and kind of got it working a little bit. So that was good. But it made me think
Yeah.
too of what modules to keep in the synthesizer and which ones should be cycled out. I found like there's a few that I was using a lot of, and then a couple I put in there that I thought I'd use, I wasn't using them. So I could take those out and maybe replace them with something that might be useful.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's similar to like playing a set, and it teaches you what pedals belong on your pedal board, which ones you miss and which ones you never use that are on your pedal
Yeah.
board.
Yeah. Well, that's actually kind of the beauty of the pedal board and the Euro rack, right? Because they're modular, so you can, with pedals you can swap out a pedal and change the order or something, right? Or add one on the
Hmm.
end, right? And the same thing with the modular, like you can take the bits out because if you think about it, it's kind of like an instrument, and you play it by turning the knobs and plugging the cables in, right? And then if you take part of the instrument out and replace it with a different instrument.
Yeah. I was thinking about the what do you call it? The System 4 Echo and how it's kind of integral to my synth setup. But any other, it could actually become integral to my pedal board, my guitar pedal board. Um, but it does such a good job of playing with the micro freak
Oh,
that
good. Yeah.
I kind of think
Yeah,
that's where it belongs.
yeah, the delay is great. Like you can't beat delay. I have this thing, it's the, what is it called? It's the dual looping delay. Dual looping
Okay.
delay, right? So, and I forget what the time is on it, but it has like an incredible time, like 20 seconds or 40 seconds or some
Wow.
massive amount of time. But it also has like a clock built into it. So, and it's set up for like high fidelity audio. So it's not like I'm a tape and I want to emulate like old tape with hiss and flutter and like all this imperfections, right? But instead it's like high fidelity. So it's just kind of like taking your signal and copying it at intervals, right? And then it has like a kind of a time adjustment. So you can, set it to like, 8 beats or like 7 beats or 9 beats or, right?
Is this a Eurorack module?
Yeah, yeah. And it's two delays, right? So there's two of these in a row and you can feed one into the other, so it's very rhythmic, right? So it's like really about like just copying your signal in a rhythmic way, or copying little chunks of audio, the echoes.
That sounds cool.
It's pretty good, Sometimes it's weird because it's on and you can't even tell that it's on, and then other times it's like super noticeable, It depends on the settings.
Right. Yeah, I've actually been thrown off by it was actually the delay on my Volca Beats. It has this kind of delay time and depth. And if you have it set at like half time of your rhythm, it just it sounds like a really fast drum track or something like that. It's you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it just doubles the speed of your drum track, which is um it can be very confusing when you're like trying to like re-achieve or you're trying to play something that you've used before, but you didn't notice that the delay is set to like half the time of
yeah,
your BPM.
yeah. Sometimes it's not obvious like what is going on too on electronic stuff. You're like, hold on, where is the
Mm-hmm.
where's the knob that's responsible for the problem I'm hearing right now? Or or where's that knob that's gonna like, you know, change the sound in a good way right now? It's kind of, it's a toss up like what knob that might be.
Right, or the button or knob that is going to basically cut your signal completely,
Yeah,
and
my
you
yeah,
you
my
won't
expertise.
you won't be able to figure out how to get it back.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? But anyway, yeah, I was having fun dorking with the synthesizer this week. I might do it again. I have this idea. I'm using this module called Ornament and Crime. And Ornament and Crime is kind of digital. It has just like a little screen on it about this big, and then two encoders and a bunch of jacks, right? So you can run any number of different apps on it. It's probably got like 12 or 20 apps,
Hmm.
right? And it's basically like a 4-channel quantizer. So you send the signal in and then it quantizes it to a particular note on the scale, right?
Okay.
But but it's besides that, like it also generates stuff. So it's kind of like you can send a clock in and then it can generate random voltages, or you can send a clock and a CV in and it can sample the CV like a sample and hold, and then quantize it to a particular scale. And it has 4 quantizer channels, right? So you can quantize up to 4 things. But it has one of the apps is called Sequence, and it's a 2-channel sequencer. So the sequencer has 2 CV output and then two other outputs that can be gates, or they can be envelopes, or they can be other CV, right?
Okay.
And so I was playing with that, like that was pretty good to play with, And I was thinking I wanted to try and, you can have 4 16-step sequences, right? And then it can play them in order. And I was thinking like, maybe I want to try and do some arpeggios on the sequencer and then do like a 4-chord something, right? Because I can play the 4
Right.
sequencer channel, or the 4 sequences, patterns, one at a time, right? You can even put that on like CV control, so you can send the CV in to tell it what sequence pattern to play.
That's cool. So you can change it up as you're as you're playing it back. You can have it, I don't know, can you have it tell itself to change up the sequence, or does another
I guess
module
so. Yeah,
come
yeah,
into
you could
play?
do that. Yeah, yeah, you could do that. It has a couple play modes. So you're kind of limited. You can't sequence the sequence of the patterns, right? You can't like put them in an order, like you could with old drum machines. You could program a pattern and then you could say pattern A, pattern B, right? Pattern C, pattern A. You could kind of sequence the patterns. This you can't do that. It'll either just play pattern 1 to pattern 2, or pattern 1 to pattern 2 to pattern 3, right?
Okay.
Unless you put that under CV control or trigger. It might work with a trigger too. I don't know, but anyway, so like it's a matter of like programming the timer, the clock, to run the sequencer maybe.
Yeah, I mean
It's kind of cool. It's a
it's
cool module.
complicated stuff. Like it's very much a problem solving exercise. Like how do you get your Eurorack to make meaningful noises,
Meaningful. I don't know about that,
or
but
sequencing things.
well, there is a learning curve, and then every module like kind of has its own little language, right? They're all different, some are
Hmm.
similar, like maybe from the same manufacturer, but then like, you get all these different modules from different manufacturers, and everybody's got their own idea of where best to put the input and output jacks, so everything's kind of in a slightly different arrangement, and they have their own methodology for deciding like how the controls work, and so everybody works a little bit differently.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of weird that like there are a lot of things that are very much like cars. Like you get into a car, the driver's seat is in the same place on all cars in our country, um, and that the shifter is in a couple different places. Headlights, usually you can kind of feel your way to that. Um, the radios are generally in the same place. You could, if you get into somebody else's car, you can figure it out within like 5 minutes how to drive away. But synthesizers are so far from that. Like if
Yeah,
you went into somebody else's studio and you had to operate their synthesizer, it would probably take you a while to figure out how to just turn it on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to figure it out. I mean, it might be not that hard if they had the similar modules, or if you've used some of the modules that they have. Feel like if
Right.
I go anywhere, like if they have the DLD, I can probably operate it, and if they have a ornament and crime, I can figure it out. And all the modules
Yeah.
I have, I know, because everyone's
Hmm.
different. They're all different. It's kind of
Right.
fun though. I was reading, or yeah, I was reading this book, Patch and Tweak. It's kind of like a coffee table book of synthesizer stuff. But like a coffee table book, it's also kind of a plug for the whole industry. Like oh, here's the manufacturer, here's the modules, they name them. But it is kind of informative. I'm kind of torn on the book. I think it's okay. I'm kind of enjoying it, reading it. It's got some good information, but it is a lot of plugs for like product. It feels like, because it's there. But then again, I guess they couldn't show the modules any other way, right?
Right. I mean, I guess you could show them generically, like you could use like VCV rack or something like that, but that's not really, I don't know. It's a different story.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of VCV rack, they came out with a new version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, like version 2, I haven't used it or anything, but I just got an email from them.
Okay. I guess I didn't
So
sign up on the list. Um,
yeah, I'm trying to unsubscribe from everything in email.
yeah. Yeah, I'm getting subscribed to a lot of things without my consent.
Yeah, lately, I don't know if it's a thing, but yeah, just recently I got a whole bunch of spam.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I was having fun dorking with the synthesizer. Gonna maybe do it again this week for this week's song.
Oh,
But,
good.
but the
Yeah.
idea was I was thinking if I could program some chords into the or arpeggiate some chords into the sequencer, I could do a 4-chord arrangement of something. So the last one I was just experimenting, so it was all just like 1 chord or 2 chords, right? Like this one I'll try and do something with the sequencer patterns and do more.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll try to get the synthesizer into next week's song. This week's song is 2 guitars, bass, and I think Kyle playing the drums from the garage band drummer.
Kyle, yeah, Kyle's pretty
He's
available.
reliable. Yeah, he
He
shows up
shows up.
on time. Uh,
Yeah.
but the arrangement track really helped. I don't know how long my song is. I think it's probably like in the 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes realm. Yeah, about 2:20.
Nice.
So yeah, so that helped. And yeah, it really helped with switching up the drum parts between the parts.
Oh, it does. Yeah, that's a huge improvement. Hey, here's another tip for your garage band, right?
All right.
If you pull up the what is it, like the control track or it's something
Is it
else.
the master?
No, there's another one that like it gives you like a little control handle so you can like draw a curve to set the volume or what some effect is applied to a channel.
It's not the master track, is it?
No, it's the I'll look it up. Sorry, I got to get it on my other computer here.
Yeah, I don't want to commit us to this, but I like the idea of having like a weekly garage band tip. If we could every week offer up a new
Oh, the
garage band
automation
automation.
track.
Oh,
I should have remembered that. Yeah, but basically, like if you get into like one of those image editing or like video editing tools where it just has like kind of a line and you can kind of draw it up and down and
right.
sets the volume. So you can do that, or you can apply it to different stuff on a track too. Like there can be one for volume and pan and echo and reverb and whatever.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that today because I was thinking I was going to fade out this last bit. I don't know if you can hear this. But hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was just one note that goes beyond the
Oh yeah, no, it's that the
timeline.
automation track is perfect for that, right? Or if you
Yeah,
have
I ended up
something,
not using it, but I was thinking about looking for something like that for it.
yeah, yeah, it's perfect for that. If you, it's also good for something like if you record something and then you're like, oh, I'm going to add another part, so I need to make that first part quieter in the middle. You're like, oh, if I just did these 8 bars quietly, then that other thing would stand out. And you can kind of automate the volume.
I found the automation track. It's under mix. It's
Yeah,
show automation.
yeah, it's
So
pretty good.
I'll show my screen just to demonstrate that. Oh, I'm disabled from sharing my screen.
Well, I got to turn that on. Sorry. Done.
All right, so here it is. Under mix, you can turn off and on the show automation, and then you can see volume or pan or echo, reverb, all these different things that you
Yeah.
can affect with
Click on the
the,
track. Yeah, you see it draws like a line in.
yeah.
Now you can click on it again and put a couple points down.
Okay.
You click one over to the
Oh,
left, right? You got to put two down, so one kind of anchors it, and then yeah, exactly, right.
all right, cool. So yeah, I'd want to go down to 0. No, that's negative. So,
I think you want to go down all the way.
oh, okay. Okay, so just gonna move this a little bit. Now let's see what
Yeah,
it sounds like. Just bring it back a
and
little
then
bit,
that fades
and
out now, right?
yeah, that's much better.
Yeah,
Okay,
but anyway, that's
cool.
useful. I
Okay.
found that, again, I'm just the garage band neophyte, but it's
Well,
it's
I
pretty
mean,
useful. I like that they provide it for free, so you're like, oh, at least I'm not paying a lot of money, like it's not an Adobe product or something where they're hitting you up for a monthly fee.
right. Yeah.
And then you're like that with that stuff too. You're like, hey, it's been 6 months and I haven't even used it, like that happens.
Right. I mean, if you're on Windows and you don't, have access to GarageBand, there are also free alternatives like what's it called? I'm not remembering right now, but there's a like a pretty good DAW for free on Windows and Linux and Mac, but it's very much feels like GIMP or something like that. It's like it feels like a Windows program. It's very complex and it doesn't have the squishy gooey that Apple is so good at.
Yeah. Yeah, I have some bad Illustrator Inkscape. It's like some terrible Illustrator clone, but it's nowhere near as good. Illustrator is a pretty good tool. I just don't want to pay Adobe a monthly fee to use
Right.
it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
though I own Sketch and they want to switch to like a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, something like that.
Oh, that's too bad. I
You
used to use that program like, maybe 1 week out of the year or something like that. And I don't want to pay the upgrade, I don't want to pay a yearly subscription just to use it for a week.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough cycle because like you can buy the software and you're like, okay, it's good for me. I don't need to upgrade it. That's fine. I mean, you might upgrade it too if you're really into it, but if you're not, that's fine. But then Apple updates their system and then you're like, oh shoot, my software doesn't run anymore. It's kind of a vicious
Hmm.
cycle. And then you're like, oh, well, now I got to pay for the upgrade just to use the software.
Yeah, they know what they don't they none of these companies want you using stuff for free. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Of course they don't. But they kind of offer it up under the guise of being free, but you're gonna have to pay for it eventually anyways. I mean, um with Apple and GarageBand, I think that the the pain comes when you need to upgrade your your OS and then get the newest version of GarageBand to continue using it, or that kind of thing, where it's like you need to in order to use the latest GarageBand, you have to update your iOS or your OS version. That's the
Yeah.
kind of thing that gets me looking elsewhere.
Yeah. You just got to live with it, I guess. But anyway, so I think GarageBand works pretty good, and you're not paying anything for it, so you can't complain. Can't complain there. Um,
Right.
so what have you been working on? Got any projects?
I've been just working on music. I bought some parts from Guitar Fetish the other
Oh,
day,
good.
and I bought a new soldering iron.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a soldering station. Pretty excited about that. Probably will be here next week. But yeah, the parts I got from Guitar Fetish, I got those red active pickups. I got some humbuckers and a single coil for the middle. So we're gonna have to route out um, some wood from that Stage Master.
Oh, cool.
Um,
That
and
sounds like a great project.
yeah, that'll be fun. And you already
Do you
installed
need
a
a do you need to route it for a battery for the active pickup?
yeah, we need to route for a battery also.
Yeah.
So, today I got out my one of my basses. It's an acoustic bass. It's an Ibanez, and plugged it in, pushed the power button, and nothing. My 9 volt was dead,
Ah,
and I realized I don't have any 9 volts around the house. It's like that's a terrible trap to get in. So I I was lucky that my fretless bass that I was using earlier also uses a 9 volt battery, but it had a charge, so I was able to continue playing. But yeah, it sucks when you can't do the thing that you want to do because you don't have batteries in the house. You got to run out.
yeah. I could get by without batteries if I had to, but it is kind of a drag. There's a couple things that run on batteries still, and then you're like, shoot, I got to go get some batteries, and then you got to throw them away. You got to buy them.
Oh, I know, and I've got a few things that I know that you can get the oh, now it works. You can get an AC adapter for these things, and these things, but I just haven't gone to the effort of doing it.
Yeah,
It's such a waste to use it.
yeah. Like I have a multimeter for checking electronic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's stuck on something here, but just one of these. I got this at Radio Shack a long time ago. It's like when it's just getting started, right? And it still works, but it takes a 9 volt battery.
Mm.
And the battery usually lasts a long time, like it'll last years, but I think this one is starting to go bad. And so I'm like, shit, I gotta get a new battery for it. Because that thing's pretty useful. I don't think
Yeah.
I've made a guitar pedal with a 9 volt battery in it for years. I just don't even bother.
Right. Yeah. There's one thing that I will always need to have a battery that I use occasionally. It's the EBO. Like there's
Oh,
no way to like have a plug-in EBO. I guess you could
yeah.
make an EBO that had a rechargeable battery.
Someone makes it like an alternative EBO. I forget what it's called, but it's a little bit different. It's basically the same thing except the ergonomics are different. Like the EBO has this kind of U shape and you hold it.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is more like a little cylinder and you put the end of the cylinder against the strings,
Right. I've
right?
tried it. I don't like it. I don't like the ergonomics of it.
Oh, did you
Like
try that one? I haven't even
yeah.
seen one. I just saw it on the internet.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's sort of like um uh I don't know, it's like an ex-girlfriend of mine had some weird ergonomic issues. So she had like this mouse that instead of holding it like this, it had like like a pillar that you'd hold on to. And so you'd move it like this. And that's to me is what this other like this EBO wannabe is. It's like you're just holding this weird thing in a weird way on your strings. Whereas the original EBO, it feels like you're playing an instrument. It's
Yeah,
more
they're
like a
pretty
like a
popular.
like a
They're kind of the
violin bow.
original thing.
Yeah.
They kind of wrote the book. They're the Kleenex of, handheld string sustainer, electromagnetic
Right.
string sustainers, or whatever
Yeah.
you call it. Yeah,
I think that's probably an accurate description of what it is.
yeah. I have a Sustainiac. I think the Sustainiac is great. It's the same thing except it's a guitar pickup. So you don't
Right.
hold it, you just turn it on. You can't really control the string though, like it just vibrates all the strings, you know?
Right.
And then if you hit a chord, sooner or later all the strings will be vibrating in unison. So like, you know, even the high strings and the low strings will be like all vibrating like the same note, but they'll just kind of evolve into that note, you know?
Oh, really? They morph into the same note.
Yeah, it's because it's electromagnetic. So the thing, it picks up on some frequency, like some fundamental frequency that you're playing, and then it makes the magnet kind of go on and off at that, you know, at that frequency. And so the strings are made of metal, right? And so the magnetism kind of pulls them into like a rhythm, you know, that follows the,
Oh,
you know, what the sustainer is outputting, you know.
interesting. But theoretically, you could just play chords where everything is being triggered by the Sustainiac.
Yeah, you can, yeah, yeah, but it would be more like you'd be playing like um unisons, you know, it'd be a unison chord, you know, right?
Right.
It has a weird mode because it has a couple modes. So you can turn the you pull the knob to turn it on, right? And then as you turn the knob up, like it drives the sustainer more, so it creates more sustain, right? And then the other knob has a push pull switch. So when you're in the regular mode, you can kind of um, turn it through like this mix mode, right? Where you can kind of mix the like there's a like it kind of latches on to like a frequency that you're playing, right? And it'll either be the fundamental or it'll be like a harmonic of it, right? Like a third or a fifth, right?
Okay.
And so when you can put it in the mix mode, and as you turn the knob, it'll like mix from the harmonic to the fundamental, right? So it's kind of weird. Like if you play a note, if you play a chord, the chord will gravitate into a unison, and then and then it'll play the fundamental, you know, just like sustain, like a like feedback. But then if you turn the to the harmonic mode, it'll like evolve into like a fifth, you know.
Wow. So
Kind
you
of
actually
fun.
you use the knob as part of the technique to play it.
Yeah, yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah. And
Okay.
the funny thing is I think the newer no the newer Ebo has the harmonic mode in it too, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The white one, the Evo 2 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, maybe,
Plus.
yes. They did the same thing. So it just like latches onto a harmonic frequency instead of like the fundamental, you know.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I might get one eventually. I know they've been out for 20 years, but
It's
yeah,
kind of cool.
I've
It's
had
like
mine for like 25 years or something.
yeah, it's kind of cool. I heard they just started like it was some guys with an idea. Yeah, we're gonna do this Ebo thing, and they just like that's been their company ever since, you know, which is kind of cool. I like that's very American, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty
I got,
genius, and it's like they don't need to expand into other things. It's like, um, if you make the Evo, then like you're always going to find customers every generation.
yeah, it's a pretty unique instrument too. So like or tool, you know, it's like there isn't a lot like it except for that other copy and the
Right,
Sustainiac. So there's like three people in this zone. I think
right.
what is it? Fernandez makes a sustainer also.
Oh, okay.
So but I think
Yeah,
at first they licensed the Sustainiac, but now they do their own thing because it's kind of different. You know, and there's a couple of guitar manufacturers that install the Sustainiac, like Jackson or somebody.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. And then of course there's the Fender, the what's his name, Ed O'Brien Strat has a Sustainiac built in.
Yeah, yeah. Like, see, he uses it, right? So it must be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Trogley did a review of that guitar, and his demo of the Sustainiac was, I don't know, it's pretty hard to tell what it does because he wasn't, I don't know, it just
Oh,
felt
he
like he
didn't
wasn't
know
doing
how
it
to
right.
work it. It takes
Yeah,
a little bit of practice, you know. Plus, like, you know, when you turn it on, like it depending on the string, like if it's the bass strings, like the wound strings, especially the E or the A, right? The sustain will kick in pretty quick because they have a lot of mass, but they also have
Hmm.
like that affects the magnetism, like that gives the magnetic wave something to, manipulate, right? But the higher strings are the solid strings, right? Like the G string and on up, right? The sustain takes a little while to kick in. It's not like super strong, you have to wait a
Hmm.
moment, so you can play it, you know, but
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine your technique would involve exciting those strings in, in some kind of artificial way to get them kind of ready for the Sustainiac to take over.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of fun to play with. You can't use it all the time, but it's kind of cool. It has a battery in it though. That's the one bummer too,
Yeah.
right? But so then you got to make sure you unplug the guitar
Hmm.
so that it doesn't drain the battery. So that's the other place I use 9-volt battery. What was I thinking about that? I had a thought about it. Yeah, mine has this issue now where like if the sustainer is not plugged in or if it's not turned on, then it's kind of got a little bit of distortion because the signal goes through the Sustainiac board and there's something on there. And I asked the guy that makes it, I sent him an email and I asked him like, hey, my Sustainiac has this noise, and he's like, oh yeah, you probably did something and and then he kind of said like, it did something to some diodes on the Sustainiac board. And he's like, if you send it to me, I'll fix it for 25 bucks. But then I was like, it's too much trouble for the 25 bucks to send it back to and pay 25 bucks, right? But then I was like, I wonder what that is. I wonder, could I just fix it? Like what is the issue? He didn't really say, and he doesn't provide a schematic or anything.
Yeah, I'm sure that's by design. He doesn't want to
Yeah,
give away
yeah.
the store.
So, but I was thinking like I have two of them. So I was thinking like, what if I just cut one open and see if see what's in there, maybe I could figure out whatever it is that's the issue, or maybe there's something in there that I don't know, I could share it with the DIY people and they might have some suggestions on what to fix. I also have
I mean,
a
that could,
second one, so I might actually just swap it out and maybe the second one doesn't have that problem.
right? Yeah, because the guy said it was something that you did that caused that
That's
caused
what
the
he kind of
diode failure
implied
or something.
that but I don't know, like it's hard to say.
Hmm.
Because it works just fine, except for it's just got a little bit of noise, like when it's not engaged.
Hmm.
So when you're trying to bypass it, it doesn't bypass it. It goes through your signal, still goes through the Sustainiac board, right? It's just not the driver just isn't running.
And the noise sounds like just like too much gain or something like that, or
Well, it's more like just the clean sound has like a little bit of a ragged edge to it,
hmm,
like
okay.
a little bit of distortion or a little bit of overdrive that's always on. It's not totally unpleasant, but like if you wanted a clean sound, then you're like, hey, wait a minute, this is not right.
Yeah. Hmm. Which guitar do you have that in?
I have it in this like baritone guitar.
Oh yeah.
It's like a Fender, like a Squire Stage Master or something. It was like
Yeah,
200
it's
bucks.
subsonic.
Yeah, the Subsonic. Yeah, so it was like only 200 bucks when I bought it, or super cheap. So I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted a baritone. Maybe I'll just buy this one because it's like super cheap.
That's cool. That's a great guitar to put a sustainer in. It's very,
I,
it's
I
very
thought it was a
different
weird idea,
frontier.
and
Yeah.
it works pretty good actually with the heavier strings too. Like the magnet like is even happier like moving the heavy strings. I should
Yeah.
probably change the strings on that. It's been like a decade or they still work though, they're just fine, you know. But I
Yeah.
did
I don't
that.
know.
What else? What else I did is did I show you this? Yeah, I made this 22/7. I
Oh
got the
yeah.
new PCBs, right? From PCB Way, right? These are in yellow. Because the last one I screwed up was in black. So I was like, hey, let's not make a mistake because the boards are going to look exactly alike.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we'll do these in yellow, and then I'll be able to tell Kirk And Steve, do not build the black one.
Yeah.
Right, the black one is cursed. It won't work.
Yeah. Because I would build it and then I would think it was me.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so I sent you guys a new board, and I sent you, there's another
Thank you.
black board. It's different, right? See, this one has the 6 holes up here
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the switch goes, right? And this one doesn't have that, but it takes these 9mm pots. You can kind of just see the outline of the
Mm-hmm.
pot here and here, right? So you got to have those. But this is just the Big Muff board too. So I sent you one of those also, so you can build your you can build both these. They're kind of big, but they're both Big Muff style fuzzes, right? So you could build them both and then compare them.
Cool. Yeah. And make a video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
Close.
and yeah, funny. But yeah, so I built that and it worked. So I was totally happy because the last PCB was cursed and broken. Like it was obviously it was like my error. I made a mistake, but anyway, so I threw those out. I actually pulled the parts off one of the ones that I built. Yeah, I just pulled all the while we were playing the other night. That's what I was doing, is I was pulling the capacitors out and moving them over to the new board.
Oh, that's good. Do you have any special tools for that? Like, because a lot of times, you know, you're pulling
I have
apart.
this, and this thing really works. I was actually surprised. It's like a vacuum thing. You heat up the part, and you put this stick up against it, and you press the button, and it goes, and it just like sucks up all the solder.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
It actually works pretty good. I was surprised. And then the other thing is you just use the soldering iron and you burn your fingers pulling the part out, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, I had this issue with my range master where I had to reverse some of the parts, and um, getting them off of the board that's the problem that I was having. So
Yeah, yeah, that can be a
I
problem.
need something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, so I got that built and confirmed that it's working. So
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah, you know what was funny is I think like I posted that Big Muff board on PCBWay on their shared service, you know? And so they have a thing like, oh, you get like 10% or 5% or 1%. There's some like they're like, oh, we give you some money if people buy your board. And I think I can't, it's hard to tell on their website, but I kind of got this impression that I had either $5.46 or 46 cents in like sales on their shared service, you know. So I just got to build my PCB library up over there, right?
Yeah, that could be your retirement right there.
Oh yeah, I know, totally. So but anyway, that was kind of fun. So you know, so anyway, so I got to build some more things, but I have to get rid of some pedals. Like I can't have all this inventory, you know. I got to find some way to move these things out of my lot.
Yeah, we got to work on the swap meet. I think that idea um, is an idea that whose time has come.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we got to do the swap meet in San Francisco too.
Yeah.
Walking distance from my house.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That'd be a good place for it. You know, there's probably parking out there.
What if we could do it in the park?
Oh, that would be cool. I
You
mean,
can
it'd be
just make it
difficult
like
to
a
demo
flash mob
things.
situation, you know?
Um, yeah,
You just like
yeah,
show up to the park with your modular gear and your pedals for sale and trade.
yeah. The problem that we would have is that there's no way to demo anything unless you brought a
You got to
generator.
bring batteries, bring
Yeah,
battery powered amps.
yeah, yeah. I have a couple battery powered amps, but nothing for outboard power, like for pedals. I mean, any pedals that take 9 volts, you could, of course, battery power, but
Yeah.
they don't.
Well, you know what? I got this this power supply. It's like a laptop power supply. I think it's over here somewhere. What did I do with that? Yeah, here it is.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's like this. It's called the Power Ad, right? And I think this is like $100 or something on Amazon, and it has an output that does. I think you can set it to like 12 volts. So it has a bunch of like storage too. So I set it up with the modular synth so I could play the synth off of it, and it works pretty good. You could play for hours.
That's really cool.
You could run your pedal board off it too. You could set it to 9 volts.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That would be pretty neat. I mean, that would be good for the swap meet in the park.
Yeah, right. Wait till the weather's nice and just tell everybody. Oh, then you could do it at the beach or something too.
Yeah.
Show up, bring your gear. And then bring your money if you want to buy some gear. I wonder what the legality of that is, or if it would just attract weird people or something.
I mean, it would probably appear very suspicious, but I don't think that there's anything illegal about that.
Yeah, there was a thing in LA called that, or it started in LA. It was called Modular on the Spot, and it was just some people, they were into their modular synthesizers and like, you know what, we're going to take these things outside and just tell people to show up, and they just go down by the river in LA. I don't know where, but they just said it was near the river, and they're just like, oh, we go near this river and then we play, and people just show up and we do it, and then it kind of took off in different cities around the world.
That's cool. So it's like a jam. It's like a big jam.
Yeah, it's not that big, because I think they've only done it like once or twice in San Francisco, but they do it all over. There's a New York one.
Do they
There's probably one in Seattle.
do they have any kind of sync going on? Do they send around like a
I don't know.
a clock signal that everybody can jump
I don't know.
on?
I don't know how they do it,
Okay.
but they got to be battery powered
out.
because they're outside.
Right.
Or long extension cords.
Right. Yeah, but probably a generator.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know. It would be cool to get one of those started around here,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, bless you. If there's enough attention on that for like even just like a singular event, I would imagine that there would be interest in kind of like more regular gatherings as well.
Yeah, maybe. There's a meetup that does a modular synth kind of thing. I forget what it was called, but it was always on like a Wednesday night, and I couldn't go because I had work.
Okay.
But I've been meaning to go. I was on their meetup.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't find it. I was looking at meetups last week, and there were no real obvious like modular or like pedal meetups.
Yeah. Well, maybe we got to start one.
Right.
We got to start this up. The only bummer is it just takes time. Like if I could give up a day of work to do this, then that we could really get something off the ground. But maybe we should just record the podcast at one.
Yeah.
Record this like at the beach with our blanket set out with like guitar pedals for sale. While
It would be pretty interesting. We might have some interesting random guests on the show. Like
sure, yeah,
people who are attracted by the synth music and guitar pedals.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if there's a Bluetooth module, because Casey has one of those things. It's like a cylinder. It's like a JBL kind of thing. Like you could throw it in a pool and it plays music, or you could carry it outside and it's battery powered. It sounds pretty good. It puts out a pretty loud. Outside, it probably doesn't sound as loud, but inside it's pretty loud. So you could get one of those. It's battery powered, but it uses Bluetooth. So if there was like a way you could send Bluetooth from your modular case to the thing, you could just bring that and then the case and then and the battery,
Well, there has to be. I mean, for guitarists, there's that little Bluetooth. I believe it's a Bluetooth thing that it's wireless, and it's it's like a wireless thing for your guitar, like the old radio type thing. But like it's you see it ads for them on Instagram all the time. They're just like a little
Yeah, I think I know what you're
dongle that
talking
goes in.
about.
I've actually thought about getting one just for the house, just because I'm too lazy to like run a cable across. It's like I walk around, without worrying about like dragging, uh, you know,
Yeah.
glasses off the table or something.
Yeah, when I was 17, I took guitar lessons from this guy, Chris. I forget his last name. Like, so I was like, 17. I was about to graduate from high school, right? And he's this total hair metal guy, so it's like 1982, 83,
Mhm.
right? 82 maybe, 83 maybe, 84, I don't know, 83. Let's call it 83. Right? He's a total hair metal guy, and I'd go to his house and I'd pay him like $7 an hour for a guitar lesson, right?
Good deal.
And he'd answer the door with this Dean Flying V, and he had one of those wireless things and a Marshall stack in his room, and so he'd be just playing around the house. He'd say, "What's up, dude?" And then his mom would be like, "Chris, can you take out the trash?" And he's like, I got a guitar lesson right now, Mom. But he'd just be playing around the house everywhere he went. But then the sound would be coming out of his bedroom, right?
I love that. That'd be awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
my my
he had
room
some
is not.
good style too. He was super metal guy.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. They say that heavy metal people, people who listen to heavy metal, are happier.
Really
Yeah,
good for them. Yeah, I'm gonna start listening to more heavy metal.
yeah. I think we all should listen to more heavy metal. It's
Yeah,
it's,
more
it's
metal.
good therapy,
Yeah, it
metal
is. Yeah.
therapy.
I built this. Let's just ramble for a minute. I built this doppelganger clone, and I was happy with it. Sound really good. All the knobs are working and stuff. Switches are working. And then I was like, you know what? It's got all these damn jacks on the back. So there's an input, there's an output, and then there's like a second output. And then what else is there? And then there's like two jacks here. And I swear, I can't remember. I swear that they're two expression pedals. And I don't know why. I mean, this sounds totally excessive. You got two expression pedals for your phase shifter because
Hmm.
it's got four phase shift stages, and two of the stages can be controlled with one foot pedal, and the other two can be controlled with the other. It's kind of a ridiculous situation. I don't know anybody would ever be into it, but that's the one thing I haven't tested yet. Is the
It's the expression
expression
pedals.
pedal? Yeah, and then there's another output too, so you can get not the I forget, it's either the straight signal or it's the like phase shift signal, but I forget, there's like a secondary output for something. I don't think anybody ever uses that stuff. Maybe they do, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to test it since you have the pedal. Like you have to use it. All the features of the pedal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I don't have an expression pedal. But I have an old volume pedal, and I was like, I wonder if I could rewire that volume pedal to just act like the expression pedal to use the inputs here, right? So I don't know. So anyway, so that's like another thing to waste some time on.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. And then I built two more of these, and I got them like I drilled out the cases, but now I have to, and I built the PCBs. Now I just have to assemble the two together. You know.
I mean, it seems like uh, those pedals are just a lot of work because they're so big and they have lots of, um, you know, knobs and jacks and things like that. So a lot of soldering, a lot of drilling.
Yeah,
Seems like a more involved kind of a pedal.
it's a little bit of work. Yeah. So anyway, so I got those going on. I guess that's all I'm doing. What were you listening to? Any good music lately?
Um, yeah, I have been listening to some good music. Let me just get out the old list. So this was not on um Bandcamp, and I don't think I was able to find them on there, but I found this on KEXP via YouTube. KEXP from Seattle. They have a great, um, well, they have like bands in the studio and they play like 5 songs, 4 or 5 songs
Yeah.
live. And oh, they just did uh, Idols, IDLES. That was one of the bands that they had in the studio recently. They're finishing up their tour in Seattle right now, and Deep Sea Diver also came back to the studio. Like this is all like um, really recent. Like all of these bands have been sheltering in place and not touring. Now everything's busting loose. But I a new band, new to me, called Ami, Petite Ami, um, on KEXP. That was the recent thing that I found. How about you? Have you been listening to any new music?
Uh, what did I listen to this week? I listened to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, great album.
Old music. It was good though,
Mhm.
it was a pretty good. I just took a walk one night. I was like, okay, it's gonna be an hour till we eat dinner, so I'm just gonna walk. And so I took a walk and I listened to the whole album. It was good, right? And then I listened to some M83.
Oh, okay. They're a cool band.
Yeah, they're kind of like I kind of feel like maybe they're bigger than I think they are, but I kind of feel like they should be on Bandcamp. But I think they're like we're bigger than Bandcamp. It's kind of like Sleep is like that too.
Yeah.
Like Sleep, I'm like you guys should be on Bandcamp, and I think that Sleep thinks they're a little bigger. Maybe there's like this unspoken thing, like if you're in that crowd, you just know that if you get a Grammy, you're not on Bandcamp. You know?
Oh, yeah, that could be. That could be because there are a lot of bands that, you know, uh, that I'm searching for on Bandcamp, and I just don't really understand what the dividing line is. Like, why is this band
Yeah.
not?
Well, I think Matt Pike from Sleep, I think his band High on Fire got a Grammy, and
Mhm.
then M83 got a Grammy for something too. The funny thing is I haven't heard either of those albums. So like their Grammy isn't doing a lot for me, you know,
Mhm.
but I'd be watching them on Bandcamp for sure. But you know what I heard is that Friday was the last Bandcamp Friday.
What? Oh,
Yeah, right. So they've ended the Bandcamp Friday thing, which is too bad.
hmm. Damn. I mean, I wasn't doing anything about it, but
Yeah.
that's a good feature.
Well, I think they did it during the pandemic. So they offered that up for
Oh.
the pandemic. They were like, oh, everybody's at home. So why don't we make Bandcamp Fridays to help bands make some money. And I guess they've decided, okay, well, it's been 2 years. So it's kind of probably run its course right now. And we got to just call this the new normal. And we're going to end
Hmm.
Bandcamp Fridays.
Yeah, they may be right. I don't know. One thing I've kind of clued into recently, and I've been using it, is on the homepage of Bandcamp. Uh, they have this feed of what's being sold right now, and I just I scan through that um, for the first few minutes that I am on Bandcamp. They're like, what are people listening to right now? And it shows you where the people are buying the stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
funny.
and so that's kind of a funny way to like find new music, is just see what people are buying right now.
Yeah. They have kind of an algorithm too. So because they'll offer me articles like kind of blog posts, but based on music that I follow, you know?
Hmm.
So I get these blog posts, if it's something that I follow, they send me an email about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I've
so
been
and
getting
then
those
and then
emails.
it's always like they'll always have a list of artists too. It won't just be like, an article on like one person. It'll be, they'll have like a topic and they'll have like 6 bands in there. And then if you follow one of those, they'll recommend the article, and then you can see what the other bands are that are around the topic.
Yeah, yeah, I've um I've used those playlists at work. Uh, those are pretty good.
Yeah,
Like it'll be like the ambient picks of the day or something like that, or
yeah.
the week.
It's kind of weird. It's like that's like, back when I was younger, that's the purpose of magazines, right? So it's now these like websites and kind of they're the new magazines, but you get them for free, but then they advertise or they offer some other service, it's kind of a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have time to sit around and read music magazines anymore. And I also don't want to have to deal with recycling them or storing them. So like this works great for me.
You like
And
the
you can always
digital
refer
realm.
to it. You can just send it to somebody else. Hey, check out this article. And, there's like 5 cool, electronic bands or whatever.
Kirk lives
So,
in the digital world.
yep. I'm paperless. I run a paperless office.
Nice. Vinylless,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
No, I don't have a turntable or any, but I still have CDs left over. I think we talked about
Oh,
that on the channel. Like,
yeah, I still have a bunch of CDs in the garage. I tried to sell a bunch of them a few years ago at Amoeba. They took some of the stuff. I just sold like backpacks of CDs just to get rid of them.
yeah. Yeah. Amoeba's great because I mean they know what everything is. They have such a wide variety of genres and artists that you know the ones that they don't take, they're probably like obscure or garage bands that don't have any value to them.
Yeah,
But otherwise, they pretty much took everything I bought there.
yeah. So I got rid of a bunch of stuff. Now I just do it all digital. The funny thing is, every once in a while you run into something and you're like, oh shit, I can't get that digital, or it's really hard, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Or it's like it's on a service, but you don't want to use that service, like Amazon. Like I don't want to buy any music at Amazon. I don't
right.
want to add that to my thing. Right. Like if I just go with the Bandcamp and Apple, like or iTunes or whatever it is.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't really love buying things from Apple either, but I do feel like they empower the artists to get out there. I mean, all of those services do, but it's just like you have to draw the line somewhere. And yeah, Amazon, I can't abide by them getting any of my money.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right. And then I just the whole idea of like the Spotify style, like, subscription model I'm not into,
Hmm.
you
I
know.
know.
I'm just gonna buy the album and then listen to it whenever I want to.
Yeah, I prefer to do that. I don't like the like the Apple Music subscription model where you pay one company. Um, I don't know how it works. Like you pay Apple, and then you can listen to an artist's music as long as you're paying for the service. But how does the artist get compensated for that?
I don't know. They must pay them something, but I don't know. It's a
Based on
weird,
listens or something?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but I think I like the Bandcamp model. I hear people say they make money on Bandcamp. We're such Bandcamp groupies. Anyway,
Well, it's a great service.
yeah. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing this week. I have a couple more PCBs, like this Big Muff here. It uses this chip called the 4049 hex inverter. And
Hmm.
there's another thing too that's a 4069 that basically it's kind of the same chip, but it has a different footprint. And so I have a bunch of 4069 chips upstairs. So I made another copy of this board, but with the 4069. So it's got to be wired up differently, but it might sound different, might sound the same. It should sound pretty close to the same.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and submit those boards and get those manufactured. And then I have I made there's another thing like this is a Big Muff using the hex inverters. There's another circuit that's it's like a tube screamer, but it uses hex inverters instead of the op amps
Hmm.
and transistors in the original tube screamer, right? And so I have one of those, the board's built up, and I added an extra option to it that's a blend knob. So I made a
Hmm.
board for that too. So I was going to try and get those boards manufactured, and then me and Steve were talking about doing this other pulse width modulation pedal. And Like he asked me about it, and so I designed a board for it. So I'm thinking I might try and get those manufactured too.
Cool.
You know,
But you still have to finish designing that, right?
well, I have the boards all designed. I'm just
Okay.
kind of looking at them because it's kind of like a weird layout. I did it like the Zebex pedals, so the board is like parallel to the side of the box. It's like
Mhm.
this, you know, like a, you know, and
Yeah.
then the knobs are along the top edge, and then there's 2 foot switches down here on the left and right, and the jacks go in the side, you know. And so I have to make sure, is everything going to fit in the box, you know, with all the parts,
Right. Yeah.
you know, and then I
Tricky.
got to make sure like this thing does, the board doesn't hit the top of the box, you know, and it's, I don't know, I had to kind of size it and stuff. So I'm just looking at it right now. It looks like it's all done, but maybe I'll spot a problem,
Mhm.
I guess is the point.
Right. Well, that's why you build them. So to go back to
Yeah.
the blend knob, um, is it like a mix knob where you're mixing your straight signal with your distorted signal? Is that what the blend is?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. You know,
That's
so that way
cool.
you can get a little like, because maybe as you go through the distortion, you lose a little bit of bass.
Hmm.
So you can mix in a little bit of the original signal, and you get kind of more attack, and you get a little bit of an attack, and you get more bass.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, well, you know, the original circuit, like kind of the basic one, has like a resistor, and they kind of mark it like RX, right? And they're like, oh, well, you know, if you're playing with hot output pickups, put a larger resistor here. And if you're playing with low output pickups, put a smaller resistor here. And it's kind of this path that blends the signal from the input to the output, right?
Hmm.
You know, so I just turned it into a pot so you could just dial it in, you know.
Yeah, that seems smart. It seems like something that should always be there.
Yeah, right. You know, so maybe I'll get that manufactured too and build one of those up. But then see, then I have to get rid of pedals because every time I buy these, I get like 10 PCBs, right? And then I'll build like 2 or 3 of them, and then I'll use one of them, you know, and you're like,
Hmm.
okay, so I got these extra pedals. These I gotta like hawk them, trade them, you know, give them away as Christmas gifts, you know, right? I don't know. Got to get rid of them somehow. Otherwise, they just clutter things up, and you're like, okay, sooner or later, you know, they're just going to take up all the space.
Yeah.
Maybe like the cat lady, you know, but with guitar pedals, you know.
Right. Well, your pedals aren't gonna, shit all over the place.
Yeah. Well, it's different. It's like the JHS guy. He's got a room like that's a shrine to the guitar pedal. You know, he's like, I'm just like down in my basement, like with, you know, just piles of crap, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's quite a conundrum. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this on YouTube and you have some ideas about how to generate interest in the swap meet idea,
Oh yeah, yeah. We want to hear from you.
yeah, especially if you're in San Francisco, because that's
Yeah.
where we live.
Yeah, we want to do the swap meet in San Francisco. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so should we call it a day then? You know, we'll leave it on that note.
Yeah, I think we've been on for about an hour and um, covered all the topics. Um, and I will post links to the music that we talked about and our songs of the day, our songs of the week. Did you put yours on what you call it,
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs some work, but it was just a week. So, but that's okay. We're gonna do another song next week. I'm
Yep.
trying to think of ideas already.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
start
shoot
mine tomorrow.
start early
Today?
if I can. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's early. I think Sunday is the first day of the week. So,
Okay, yeah, right. You know? Okay, cool. See ya.
all right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.